have a great show lined up for you. I'm Andre Wright, your host, and
Anne-Marie Giglio, your other host.
our guest today is a leading realtor. She spent over 20 years in the corporate world, successfully negotiating multi-million-dollar deals for clients. We have with us Deana Lindo of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. Hey, Deana, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm doing well. How about you?
We are well. We are
Great.
well.
Thank you.
So let's just get to it because I'm super excited for this. You know, I've spoken to different realtors over time, and they're giving me different perspective of what's happening. So I know that you're super versed in the area, and we just want to get it from you. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you started in real estate.
So my background primarily is in supply chain management, specifically category management and strategic sourcing. And a lot of folks don't know exactly what that means, but basically what that means is I work for a lot of Fortune 500 companies where I would negotiate a lot of their contracts, facilitate a lot of their RFP and bidding processes. And so I did that for 20 plus years across many, many different organizations, across many, many industries, and most recently in the technology space. And what drove me to transition from that career in corporate into real estate is because I really wanted to do more. I had a hunger to do more and to serve my community. And so real estate, I felt like, was the proper profession and career for me to pursue from that standpoint. I really enjoy helping people. I really enjoy investing time in my clients and really building those relationships. And so that's what's really drove me into real estate, and just a little bit about my background.
Wow. So have you been a negotiator your entire life? Because you sound like somebody I'd want at my negotiating table.
Not my entire life, but much of my adult life, yes. Yes, a lot of the skills that I learned and honed and built in my corporate career, I'm definitely using those a lot in my real estate career and in my business.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect match. I mean, because that's half the game, right? The negotiation.
Yep.
But
yes, and I think the most important part of it is really truly building those relationships, being there for your clients, really understanding their needs, and making sure that you can find the right property, the right home that meets their needs.
Of course. Important. Excellent. I was going through your site, and one of the main things that I saw is big on you is actually creating value for your clients.
Yes.
So tell us some of the ways that you create value for your clients.
Right. So a lot of folks who are looking to purchase a home, it's maybe their first time that they've done that. It could be 5, 10, 20 years since they've purchased a home. So really helping those clients be educated, be informed on what the market is doing. If they're selling a home, what your home is actually worth in today's market. And if they're buying a home for the first time, really just holding their hand and walking them through that process so that they understand, what contracts are required and needed, understand what exactly you're signing. So just really being thorough with clients and making sure that they understand exactly what they're signing up for. And I would say another value that I provide specifically is I'm not your typical agent. I don't approach every client the same because every client's needs are very, very different. So the value that I provide to my clients who work with me is more of a concierge service, more of a customized service. There's a customized marketing plan, right? If they're looking to list their home. If you're a buyer for the first time, there's a customized way that I'm going to work with you in approaching that process. So it's very much concierge services from me. I'm not your.
Tell you, Deana, I remember once, we were searching for a home, and and we found this realtor online, and
Yes.
When we met with the realtor, and he just gave us like a list of homes, and he was like, well, just look at those homes, go online, look at the home, just choose one and let me know. That's all the guy said. So when you're talking about value, I mean, and your concierge service, I mean, this is perfect because we need guidance and we need the direction in finding the right home.
Absolutely. And it's one of the biggest investments that most of us will make in our lives. And so you want to make sure you are working with an agent who understands the market, who understands your local market, who understands the market where you're wanting to lay your head, where you're wanting to build memories. So that's really, really important. Really, really important.
So you bring up market. That was one of my main questions. Like,
Okay.
what do you see in this current COVID market? Like, what do you see? Today is July 1st.
Yeah.
What's kind of the overall status to what's going on right now in residential, right? Do you do all residential?
I primarily do residential, but I'm also licensed to do commercial in the state of Georgia. So the market.
Okay, that'll be my second question.
So prior to COVID-19, the market was hot, hot, hot on fire. You could not keep homes on the market. They were selling like hotcakes. COVID-19 happened in early
March.
Then the market kind of slowed down a little bit, but it was still steady. It was still steady. There were still deals happening. What we're seeing now in the month of May, as well as in the month of June, the market has dramatically increased. And I'll just give you guys a few stats. So I have numbers for May. We're still waiting for the numbers to come out for June. We'll probably get those early next week, but showings are up 13%. And the reason why that's important is because that's a leading indicator that folks are literally actively looking for homes. Agents are scheduling showings like hotcakes, so they're up 13%. There are 53% of homes that are under contract. So we're seeing a 53% increase of homes going under contract.
Is that April to May?
Yes, and that's up 10% compared to May of last year. But yeah, compared from April 2020 to May 2020, we've seen a 53% uptick in homes going under contract. New listings, that's up 16% compared to April. Closings are down 2% compared to April, but closings are I would say a lagging indicator. I think in June, when the numbers come out in June, that number will be positive versus negative. And then we're also seeing applications to purchase homes. So mortgage applications, those have increased by 20%. And then mortgages are still, mortgages overall are still down, but we're seeing applications increase by 20%. We're seeing Google searches for homes for sale. That's up 54%. Zillow reports traffic up 51% and growing. So the market is definitely on the upswing, and we are seeing this big wave, right? Even during the pandemic, we're seeing this big wave of folks who are wanting to put their homes on the market, but primarily buyers who are looking to purchase. Just because COVID-19 happened doesn't necessarily mean that buyers don't still have a need to purchase a home or find a home.
You know what, and that's interesting because we had Todd Reed, he owns a property management company, on the show, and
Yes.
he was talking about the same thing,
Yes.
where we believe that things would be on the decline in this period. Things are actually going up, because he's having his best period in terms of sales in his company right now. So what do you think is the impetus behind this spike?
I would say folks maybe did pause a little bit. There were some buyers who put the brakes on their home search due to COVID-19 because, we were in quarantine. We were asked to basically stay home. So a lot of buyers did put the brakes on their search. Now that the economy has opened up a little bit more, I think folks are feeling a little bit more comfortable to continue their search. Sellers specifically feel more comfortable maybe having folks come through to do showings and then also putting their homes on the market. So I think that's really what's happening. The economy has kind of opened up a little bit, and so folks feel like they're able to kind of continue that process now.
I'm sorry. That makes sense to me, though. But I want to clarify something, if I could. It's kind of like I read about the S&P index yesterday. I think, it's up, what, the biggest jump since 1923. Well, it was in the toilet. So if it comes up, 100%, it's still behind. It's still 4% behind what it was in January. So I have to always look at the numbers and say, well, really, what does that really mean? And I know you were touching on it with the fact that there was this kind of pent up demand, I suppose, where people weren't out, but maybe a more accurate way to look at it, you tell me, it would be to look at 2019 compared to 2020. Are we on the same track now that we're starting to open up again?
We're starting to be on the same track for 2019 as we were for 2020. And in some metrics, we're seeing even better numbers in 2020 than 2020.
So that's interesting.
And Deana, just for clarification for our listeners, right? I think just tell our listeners what the range of the market that you deal with, because that may tell a little bit different story on the market, whether it's 200,000 below or 500,000 or above. So tell our listeners, what's your price range, your sweet spot? What do you focus on?
Yeah, my sweet spot is really that $450,000 to $700,000 range, but the percentages and the numbers that I just gave you based upon the market is across the board.
Okay.
Are these local numbers or are they national numbers?
This is for the Atlanta market that I'm.
Atlanta market. Okay.
Yeah, for the Atlanta market. But yeah, my sweet spot is about $450,000 to $700,000. I mean, I do show homes that are well above that. And I've even sold homes, below that, but my sweet spot is $450,000 to $700,000 based upon the markets that I serve.
Is that where we're seeing the movement right now in that bracket, or is it the lower?
I would say in the $100,000 up to a $500,000 bracket is where you're seeing most of the movement across the Atlanta metro area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Well, like I was saying before, buyer demand is far exceeding the number of homes even available on the market.
Yeah, inventory
available on the market is extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
I would say in the $100,000 to $300,000 range, we maybe have 2 months of inventory, and then 3 to 5, you might have 2 to 3 months of inventory. Where you have the most inventory is, in the, the multi-million-dollar homes, but in those price points that most folks can afford, just the number of homes and what's available on the market is extremely low. So it is definitely a seller's market, and I will tell anybody who is looking to sell their house, right now is the time to do it. Right now is the time to do it. And if you're a buyer, right now is the time to buy, because the mortgage rates and the interest rates are just so low. I did a closing about a month ago, and they got a 2.8% interest rate on a 30-year fixed loan. So it's a great time to buy, but it's equally a great time to sell.
So do you think that that's going to become a problem down the road? If it's a seller's market, then the prices are high, right? And so are you overpaying for a house right now?
I wouldn't say you're overpaying. No, I wouldn't say you're overpaying. It just means that a seller can get, if a seller's home is, and I'll just use an example. Mm-hmm. If your home has a market value in the range of $400,000 to $500,000, because there's so many buyers in the market that are maybe looking for a home within that range, your ability to get a higher price for your home in that range is greater because the buyer demand is so high. But you cannot, it's not smart to purchase a home well above its market value, because it won't appraise, which means your lender will not loan you the money.
Okay, good. I'm glad that's still happening.
Right. It's not a situation where...
Yeah, you remember 2008, right?
Yeah.
It's not a situation where you can price your house at $600,000 knowing that it's, at the most, you're only going to get $500,000, because the lender will not loan you the money. So yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
So are the lenders, are they swamped right now? Is that... process that's, yeah.
Mortgage applications have definitely increased. A lot of folks decided to refinance because the interest rates are where they are. So yes, lenders and banks have been quite busy these past 3 months and continue to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Deana, I know you touched a little bit earlier about the value and your concierge services, but
Yes.
I know there are a lot of realtors out there, right? But if you could tell us, what separates you? Why should our listeners, just reach out to you immediately if they're looking to buy or sell a home?
Nobody's going to work harder than me. And I know a lot of agents say that, but for me, it's true. I really, truly put my clients before profits. I really, truly put my clients before profits. I am not going to list your house and just put my sign in your yard and use that as a marketing tool. I'm not going to do that. I'm really big on educating and informing my clients. I'm really big on building relationships. This isn't just a transaction or a sell for me. When we do business together and I help you find your home, once that deal is done, I'm still going to continue and mold and grow that relationship. You're still going to hear from me. This is not a one and done. This is not just a transaction. It's a relationship. Real estate is a relationship business. And so you have to be someone who is really in this for the long haul and who really care about their clients. I think, not only reaching out and, trying to obtain clients is important, not only working with them as you're going through either helping them purchase or sell a home is important, but equally as important is what you do post sales. So with all of my clients, once we close, I always do a handwritten thank you note, and I always provide a closing gift. The other thing that I do is I'll ask them for their referrals. I'll ask them to submit a review on Zillow or realtor.com or post it on my website. I'll ask for that. But I'll also keep in touch with them. I'm not going to stalk you. I'm not going to send you a note once a week. You'll hear from me maybe, once a month, maybe once every other month, but it's really, really important to keep that relationship going even post sale. And the example in the story that you gave, Andre, is a testament to why that's important, because people will they'll eventually move again. They'll eventually need to sell. They may want to buy a second home, right? So you always want to, as a real estate agent, stay top of mind. You want to be their forever agent. If they say, hey, I know a real estate agent, you want to be the first one at the top of their mind. So that's why post-sales follow-up is hugely important. But then also adding something of value. It's not just saying, hey, how you doing? Hope all is well. No, it's providing something of value that your clients would be interested in.
So is COVID making that, I can see where it makes that relationship even more important. Is it a lot more work for you these days with this situation you're in?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a lot more work. I mean, it's not as easy to meet face to face, like in the traditional sense. I mean, we're doing a lot of Zoom calls like we're doing right now, on the phone a lot. But I will tell you this, there are a lot of clients who still want to physically go and see properties. I always offer to do virtual tours because we have a pandemic that we're dealing with and going through. And when I do take them out to show them properties, we both have our masks on, we both have gloves on, using hand sanitizer, socially distancing. And then one thing that I'll do is I will take a hand sanitizing wipe and I'll open up all the drawers and the cabinets and the doors so that my clients don't have to touch them. But, we're following CDC guidelines as we're taking clients out to see properties. But, I've had very few clients who are wanting to actually do a virtual tour, but then most of my clients do actually physically want to go and see the property for themselves.
Excellent. It sounds like you're doing the right thing.
Yes, we have to. It's a requirement. We have to keep everybody safe.
Is that a realtor association requirement now, or is it your company that's mandating that for you?
I would say, National Association of Realtors, my company, Berkshire Hathaway, everybody's following CDC guidelines.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to operate.
I mean, but I'm just curious because that sounds great. I mean, that's exactly what you need to do.
We've developed protocols and policies and procedures because of this pandemic so that we could keep not only ourselves, but also our client saves. Yep.
So are you finding with the listings that you're doing more showings than you were normally doing, or you were doing 3 months? Well, we don't count the lockdown, but are showings way up for you now?
I've had a lot of buyers coming out of the woodwork. Like I mentioned before, buyer demand is a lot higher than what's on the market. So when I do showings, it's a lot of my showings are primarily with new buyer clients that I'm working with.
Wow.
I've seen an increase there.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a realtor, and she this was a lower price point house. It was in Norcross, but she had like 100 showings in 4 days. People
Wow.
were just every 15 minutes there was somebody, and they had to do the gloves and the sanitizer and the whole thing. So that was pretty intense.
And depending upon the price point, sometimes you'll get a lot more showings in. Like if you're in a $100,000 to $200,000 price point, that's a pretty competitive price point. So yes, you're going to attract a lot of attention. I had a listing that I did a couple months ago, and we literally got probably 50 showings within the first week that it was on the market.
Wow.
It was crazy. But the price point was very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just nice. Then you get multiple offers. I mean,
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what happened. We got 3 offers, and the house went on the market Monday, and we went under contract that Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's a negotiator. See, if I had multiple offers, I'd want her on my team. Yeah. Excellent.
So Deana, in terms of, I know we're in a unique situation now in terms of the this pandemic. So do you find that the virtual showings are effective?
I think it depends upon the client. Like I said, a lot of my clients want to physically go and see the property, and we make sure we're geared up before we go. I think I've done one virtual showing, and a virtual showing for the viewers is when you as the agent are physically in the property, and you're doing maybe a Facebook Live or a Google Duo or Instagram Live, and your client is on the other end of the phone, and you're literally walking through the property and showing them the property live and in real time. Virtually.
Live. That's interesting. I didn't realize it was live.
Yeah. So
they ask questions.
Yep. Again, so most clients that I've been working with recently, they physically want to go and see it. I think I've done one virtual tour.
That's interesting. It sounds better than what I imagined, because I know somebody here who does drone. She does 3D drone video, which is just the drone flying around and looking at things. She doesn't even actually have to go in. And I was thinking that's what a virtual showing was like. But this sounds like, you're there. It's live. You can ask questions. You can have someone can have you move the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Can you go in this spot, or can you go back to that room, or can I see that particular feature or finish or detail?
Of course. So how do you market your business?
Yeah.
So primarily social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I even have a YouTube channel, and I'm also obviously on Google. So a lot of my advertising and marketing is on social media. I also do things like this. I also do a lot of networking, more virtually these days, but I do a lot of networking. And then I also do a little bit of direct mail, right? I'll send out postcards and ads and newsletters, just information of value to certain areas that I've targeted where I service and support. So that's how I market my business. And then just talking to people all the time. Just, if you're having a conversation with somebody and they meet you, the question always comes up, so what do you do for a living? And I'll say, oh, I'm in real estate. And they're like, oh, so what's going on with the market? So it just kind of builds and grows from there. So that's basically how I market my business.
And what is most effective?
I would say social media for me is most effective. And then second to that is networking and talking to people.
I want you to paint a picture for our audience. Someone is out there looking to, they have the money, they're looking to buy a new home now. How should they go about it?
So if they're looking to buy a home, the first thing you want to do is call me.
Of course.
You want to align yourself with a real estate professional, again, somebody who's an expert not only in the marketplace, but also who understands the buying process in today's world, in today's market. The second thing that they'll want to do is align with a lender. We have a wonderful lender with Berkshire Hathaway. They're called Prosperity Home Mortgage. They're amazing. So you'll want to start meeting with a lender to determine, how much money you qualify for and get pre-approved. That's the second step. And then the third step would be to get back with your agent and then just kind of follow the process from there. Your agent will walk you through all the nuances of the buying process. At Berkshire Hathaway, we have a foolproof buyer's guide that walks our buyers through exactly what to expect every step of the way, who our key partners are, from meeting with the lender all the way to closing, even to making sure you have homeowners insurance and a home warranty and all those great things. So we provide a buyer's guide, soup to nuts, pretty easy to follow, and your real estate agent will be your tour guide the whole way through.
So are you specializing in anything in particular? Because you mentioned earlier first-time buyers. It sounded like your concierge service would be great for them. Do you handle relocation? Are you a relocation specialist or anything like that you want to tell us about?
So my niche markets are first-time home buyers, investors, folks who are looking to upsize or downsize, and even folks who are currently renting or leasing who eventually want to move into a home. So those are my niche markets and my target markets.
So both buyers and sellers?
Of course, buyers and sellers.
Okay. I asked because I've met realtors who only like to work with buyers. And I've met them who only like to work with sellers, but it sounds like
I don't discriminate.
Okay.
I don't discriminate. I work with everybody.
Great.
Perfect. And Deana, this has been fantastic. And I think you sum up, what we all should look for in a good realtor.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So what I want you to tell our listeners, how can we find you?
Yes.
So I'm on Facebook at Deana Lindo Atlanta Realtor. I'm also on LinkedIn, just Deana Lindo. On Instagram, it's at Deana Lindo Realtor. And then on Twitter, it's Deana Lindo Realtor. Pretty straightforward.
That's good. And do you have a personal website?
I do. It's Deana.Lindo at BHHSGeorgia spelled out .com.
Okay. So we'll post that. We'll post that for our viewers who view this video, and it'll be with our podcast as well. So this has been great. I really enjoyed it.
That's been awesome.
Thank you guys for having me. I had a good time.
Yes, it was fantastic. And thanks again. And looking forward to have you in the future.
Absolutely. Anytime.
We'll have a follow-up. We'll have a COVID summer follow-up, wrap-up.
Post-COVID.
Of course.
Post-COVID, yeah, definitely. Be safe out there. Take care.
All right, take care. Have a nice day.
Bye. Take care.
Bye, guys.